Rev, today marks the 60th anniversary, as you know well, of the March on Washington and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. Many as 250,000 people gathered on the National Mall on this day in 1963. In honor of that moment, thousands gathered on the National Mall on Saturday, including Dr. King's family and a number of civil rights leaders, including yourself, Rev. You were there. This is something you've been telling us about for many months, anticipating it, connecting Dr. King's dream in that speech 60 years ago to where we are today. Tell us about the weekend, Rev.
Well, the weekend was very invigorating. We were able to see a cross-section of people of all races, and it was intergenerational. We had projected and put on the Parks Department permit that we expected 75,000 people. We did a lot more than that. When you looked out at the audience, everyone was under bushes because of the heat. But when we got ready to march, you could see throngs of people, interracial, intergenerational, led by Martin Luther King III and Andrea Waters King, who head the Drum Major Institute, and me, National Action Network. But then it was the Anti-Defamation League, and it was the UNIDOS organization, one of the prime national organizations for Latinos and Asian Americans and Native Americans and young students. There were like over 100 buses that came in from HBCUs that businessmen had helped National Action Network sponsor. And then in the middle of it all, not knowing to us at the time, is this hate crime in Jacksonville. And before Martin and Andrea and I got back to the hotel, we heard about this shooting. So in many ways, the unity and the hope that the march showed and the believing in the dream was hit with the reality that hate still exists with the weapons that are available to maximize that hate in terms of AR-15 rifles, SWAT sticker drawn on the rifle. The reality of where we are hit us as we go forward as celebrating where we've come in 60 years, but realizing how far we still have to go.
Yeah, and Rev, we'll talk more about that shooting in just a moment. But one of the things you were trying to do at this march was hold institutions accountable who made pledges after George Floyd was murdered, but haven't actually delivered on them yet. Where are we with that? Talk a little bit about how the country has moved since George Floyd, when it was the images were everywhere, it was trending everywhere, companies were putting out press statements everywhere. What are they actually doing in the name of racial justice, and how much are they putting their money where their mouth is?
Well, sadly, we have a lot more broken promises than fulfillment. And one of the things that was stated at the march, and it was central in my statement, was that we are going to target companies that have made commitments in the moment of George Floyd, in the moment of that movement, and George Floyd's brother Philonise and others were there at the march, that have not lived up to it. There was over $300 billion committed. There were commitments made on contracts and commitments made on doing business that has not been fulfilled, and in some cases, totally taken back. So when we looked at businessmen that were there, that did perform over and above their commitment, Robert Smith, a black billionaire, Robert Kraft, an NFL owner, marching with us. And we look at the list. We have done an analysis of the companies that made commitments and what they delivered. They will be the people that we come out of this march saying, you're going to keep your commitment, or people need to know it and not be consumers of your product. The theme of my speech was that we're the dreamers, but we have to confront the schemers. It's dreamers and schemers coming out of this march.
And as you said over the weekend, this is a continuation, not a commemoration of the March on Washington. A lot of work ahead.